Thank you very much. I'm calling to order a code enforcement hearing of the City of Cape Canaveral. Today's date is October 27, 2020. I'm a special magistrate appointed by the City Council to hear code enforcement cases pursuant to Article 6 of the City Code, as well as Florida Statutes Chapter 162. This is a quasi-judicial evidentiary proceeding. The burden of proof is on the city to show by a preponderance of the evidence that a code violation exists. In other words, I will determine based on the evidence presented to me this evening whether it is more likely than not that a violation has occurred. The alleged violator will have an opportunity to submit any rebuttal or exculpatory evidence, including testimony. At my discretion, I may allow a member of the public with relevant personal knowledge to testify, even if not called by the city or the responding party. Anyone who would like to testify should kindly sign the sign-in sheet that we have at the front table. Upon request, an alleged violator may ask relevant and material questions of any city witness, and the city may ask relevant and material questions of any witness for the responding party. I may exclude any evidence that I deem irrelevant, immaterial, or repetitious. If I determine that a code violation has occurred, I may issue an order requiring the violator to take whatever steps are necessary to bring the violation into compliance. I may require compliance within a certain period of time, after which a fine will be assessed. In determining the amount of any fine, I will consider the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator. Under the City Code and the Florida statutes, I may assess and order payment of a fine of up to $250 per day for a first violation and up to $500 per day for a repeat violation, or for a violation that is irreparable or irreversible, fine of up to $5,000, as well as the cost of repairs made by the city. At the conclusion of the hearing, I will issue findings of fact and conclusions of law based on the evidence of record, and will thereafter issue an order, both here on the bench and in writing. The city may record a certified copy of any order imposing a fine, which will become a lien against the land where the violation occurs, as well as upon any other real or personal property owned by the violator. Any order that I issue may be appealed by any party to the Circuit Court for Brevard County, Florida, within 30 days. It is the responsibility of the appealing party to obtain a record of these proceedings. An appeal is limited to the record presented before me. I have signed and approved the minutes from the prior meeting on September 22nd, 2020. I've given them to Ms. Roth. And the next meeting will be held on January 26, 2021. So there will be no hearing until then. And then I understand the city has some information on prior cases that you'd like to present.
Yes, sir. Case number 2020-102, 111 Justin Road. The case was presented to you on September 22nd, 2020. The case was tabled until the October hearing, and that property has been brought into compliance. Case number 2020-118, which was 7306 Poinsettia Avenue. The case was presented on September 22nd also. The property owner was given until October 22nd for compliance. The property has been brought into compliance.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. And anyone who will be offering testimony this evening, I would ask you to stand up and be sworn in. Do you swear that the evidence of the, do you swear that the testimony that you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much. The first matter that I have on the agenda is case number 2020-140. This pertains to the Indian River Beverage Corporation. Mr. Palmer, are you going to present?
Yes, sir. We actually would like to, the city would like to table this due to the possible COVID-19 exposure. The city's wastewater laboratory manager is unable to attend tonight. So the city would like to table this matter until the next magistrate hearing where she can be present.
Okay, which will be in January.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will rule that this matter is tabled.
Thank you, sir.
And the next matter we have is case number 2020-206. Alexander Gans and Jordan Carberry are the respondents. And would you please state your name for the record?
Chris Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Officer. Okay, this is case number 2006, Alexander Gans, Jordan Carberry. The address of the violation is 348 Chandler Street, Cape Canaveral, 32920. Parcel is there. Violation is for a vacation rental minimum stay violation. Notice the violation was sent 8/24/20. It was never delivered by the post office. Therefore, the property was posted on 9/9/2020 in accordance with Florida statute. The notice of hearing was sent on 8/25/2020. That was returned to the sender. Property was posted on 10/15/2020 in accordance with Florida statute.
Let me get those dates before you switch to the next slide, if you give me a moment. You may proceed.
This is the property right here. This is the property appraiser site. This is the townhome. Now I've got a bunch of photographs here that I have a witness here that will testify. He's the one who took the photographs and can explain in more detail what they are and everything like that. It just is pretty much showing, he can testify to when they arrived and when they departed, showing that it's a violation. But right now I'm going to go over the synopsis of the case. This started back in 2018, March 23rd, 2018. Staff received a complaint that the neighboring property is vacation rental in violation of 7-day minimum. They said some people will stay only one day, leave, new owners are there the same day. Search an Airbnb, found the townhome, and the description states a 3-night minimum. You can stay for a shorter period if you contact the owner, it says. Notice a violation was generated and sent to the property owner. On March 28th, a site visit was conducted and a photo taken. Photos will be taken twice daily, once in the morning and once in the afternoon to determine renter's duration. Staff also received a phone call from a female claiming to be the property owner in response to the notice of violation. She wanted to know what investigating we had done to support there are people staying there for less than 7 days. She was informed we received complaints from neighbors that have spoken to the renters, told them they are staying one night and going on a cruise. They also see people packing up and leaving and new people unpacking and coming in. They say it's clear when people are coming and going. Staff also told her we found the townhouse on Airbnb and what the minimum stay was saying. She then stated that the Florida says cities are not permitted to enforce duration on vacation rentals. Staff informed her that only applies to cities who have adopted the ordinance after 2011. The city of Cape Canaveral adopted the ordinance in 2007. Therefore, we are grandfathered in. I have never spoken to her again since that conversation. March through August 2018, several site visits and photos reveal the violation of stay duration continues. August 2018 to June 2019, received no complaints and observed no further violations. June 5th, 2019, received a call that the cleaning crew was there preparing the place for more guests. Conducted a site visit and observed the cleaning crew there. I will monitor the next guests and see when they arrive and when they leave. On June 9th, 2019, the guest stayed for 3 days and departed with no other guests arriving within the 7-day minimum stay. Therefore, there was no violation observed. August 19th through February 2020.
Just if I could just stop you there for one moment.
Yeah.
So we had June 5th to June 9th was the,
June 5th to June 9th. Yes, sir.
and so that's 3 nights, say?
That was 3 nights, but
And
nobody else came in afterwards. Therefore, they didn't violate the 7 days. They can stay for however many days they would like. You just can't rent it out to another guest within that 7-day minimum.
I see. Okay, now I understand.
So they didn't rent it. There wasn't a guest and then a guest immediately after within that 7-day period.
So under the city code, someone could rent out their place through Airbnb or whatever the platform is for even one night, but then it could not be rented out again until 7 days have passed.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
That's to prevent a turnstile motel like something in a residential neighborhood.
Okay.
August 2019 to February 2020, staff received no complaints and observed no further violations. Due to the extended period of time with no complaints or observed violations, this case was closed. June 28, 2020, staff received a complaint. The minimum stay violations were continuing. Photo documentation was provided by complainant showing ongoing violations. August 17, 2020, a new notice of violation was generated and sent to the property owners. September 9th, 2020, the certified letter with the notice of violation has not been delivered, so the property was posted. August through September 2020, continued violations are reported and photo documentation was submitted by my witness who is present today. September 28th, 2020, a notice of hearing was generated and sent certified letter to the property owner. October 15th, 2020, the notice of hearing was sent back to the sender unclaimed. Property was posted with the notice of hearing. On October 16th, 2020, staff received a call from one of the property owners, Alexander Gans, in response to the notice of hearing left on the door. He informed staff that he was unaware of the minimum stay ordinance until recently when renewing his business tax receipt, at which time he changed the Airbnb description to a 7-day minimum rental. He said the violations continued because he already had bookings and didn't want to cancel them because COVID-19 hit them really hard financially. He said moving forward, there will be no more violations. Today, I spoke with his attorney, and they were concerned, whatever the outcome here, if it was within the city side, they were concerned that moving forward, there could be some issues because they're still dealing with COVID-19. So we discussed that because of COVID-19, we will work with them in the future to make sure that they remain in compliance. That's the discussion that we had with the attorney today.
So then from the evidence that you've given me so far, it appears that there have been violations. I mean, if I just were to form a judgment based on what you've told me so far, and I know we have yet to hear some additional testimony. So what would the city like me to do on this? Is to find a violation, and then you would be able to work with the property owner going forward. If the property owner's not cooperative, then at least you have a finding of a violation, and you could then
correct
come back in the future.
Today, based on what we're presenting today, we want to find them in violation for the recent notice of violation, which was between August 2020 and September 2020.
Okay.
All we want to do is find them in violation. Then if it starts to occur again, we would immediately bring them back before you. But all we're asking for is that they be found in violation.
Okay. And then let me just verify some of the dates that you've given me. The notice of hearing via certified mail and the posting. Sorry, the notice of hearing was posted, I have, on September 28, 2020. Is that correct?
Let me go through my records here just to make sure I'm giving you everything accurately. The posting affidavit for the notice of hearing was posted on October 15th, 2020.
Okay, October 15, 2020, the notice of hearing. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. All of the dates are in your packet.
Yes.
Along with, I will provide you, if you would like me to, with a PowerPoint presentation also.
Do you have a PowerPoint slide with those dates?
Yes, sir.
Could you back up to it? That might be the easiest.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Actually, sir, there's an incorrect date on this PowerPoint. The return receipt for the notice of hearing should be 9/28/2020.
So the return receipt,
On the notice of hearing, it says 8/25/2020.
that should instead be
It should be 9/28/2020.
9/28/2020. Does everything else appear accurate to you?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I believe before you rule on anything, Mr. FICA may want to have something to say.
All right. Sir, if you could please approach the podium. If you'd please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yes. I took the pictures.
Just one more moment, sir, before you proceed. Could you give me your name and your address for the
Robert
record?
FICA. And I live next door to the violation,
All right.
346 Chandler Street, Cape
Very good. And how do you spell your last name?
FIKA.
F-I-K-A. Thank you, Mr. FICA.
Everything he's presented, I think I probably took most of them. You'd have to ask him. I don't know if anybody else has seen any violations, but I know that I have been doing them for 2.5 years. I know that they're just wanting to set a, I guess, put it where he is registered as having a violation. I understand that. It's, I'll tell you, I've lived there 18 years,
Mhm.
and I know it's maybe not pertinent, but in that period of time, there has been probably, there's at least 6 or 7 of them have popped up in the last 3 to 5 years on my street. Most of them don't violate, but the one next door it's been horrendous.
When you say 6 or 7, you're talking about vacation rentals?
Yes.
Okay.
Airbnbs, and there's another one called a VRBO.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure on the verbiage, but they popped up in the last, gosh, I don't know how many, probably last 3 years. It's just gotten crazy on my street.
And as for the property at issue, have you looked at the advertising for it?
I have. I've gone online, and he has other properties. Mr. Gans has 2 or 3 other properties here locally, and I found out that he has one on Fillmore Street that also is still advertising as a 3-day rental, and that is not coded otherwise. It
All
is-
right, and that's not before me this evening, so we can just focus on the property next door to you.
Sure.
And so when you looked at that advertising, was that on Airbnb or?
It is on their website, Airbnb, under City of Cape Canaveral.
Okay. And you saw minimum stays for less than 7 days?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Numerous times.
I'm talking about in the advertising itself. It would allow a stay for less than 7 days, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I've seen 1-day rentals there, back to back to back.
Okay. And then when you say you've seen 1-day rentals, that is that you've observed people coming and going with their luggage, I assume?
I've seen them show up, and then the next morning they'll leave. The cleaners come in, clean. That afternoon, they come in again. I've seen that back to back numerous times.
And those would be different renters coming in the
Yes.
next day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
I-
when you see these different renters come, do you see them carrying luggage or?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I do travel a lot that's my job. I travel all over the state. So I try to think things that are pertinent. I probably missed a few, and at one time I thought it was going to be addressed better, but it hasn't been. It has been addressed. I'm not going to say it hasn't. Because thank you guys for being here. All right, this is what I want to say.
And then would you care to give us any explanation of any of the photographs that you've taken?
There have been so many. I know that, looking at this one. Yep. 6-8. If I took them, let me just say, I would have to say yes. These are probably from Maryland. That's my wife's car to the left of this one. That's my wife's car. You see where it's painted red and blue right there. What I normally do is when I go to work in the morning, whoever came in that night, I would take a picture. I would start to put a email together with the date that they arrived. And then when I come home, they'd be gone. And my wife said, hey, or I've seen the cleaners come in. That's when I know that they've left. Usually it's 2-3 days. I'd say 80% of to talk about this, I can't give you an exact date or remember these because there's been so many.
On this Maryland license plate, did you take that photograph?
I did.
Okay. And are you able to testify whether or not the people who drove this car from Maryland, whether they stayed for less than 7 days?
Yes.
And could you testify that someone else came within the 7 days and also stayed at the property?
If I sent this to Mr. Robinson, yes, because I wouldn't, he has corrected me on a couple because there was that 1 day lag, 4-day lag, and I understood a little bit better the violation. But yeah, anything that is sent in and that's on this thing, I'd have a 100% chance of it being correct. And it came from my personal phone.
All right. And what about this photograph here of the black pickup truck?
Yeah, I think this one here, I think they were there. I don't want to misspeak here. Yeah, 7/5, that's June or July. I would have to say yes. That was. I definitely took the picture, so it was definitely a violation.
All right. And this appears to be a different pickup truck here, the silver one.
That's a silver. A lot of times the people. Yes, I did take that photograph, and so where there was a violation.
Okay.
If I would have known that I had to know each photograph that I'd taken, I mean, I would have had a phone.
That's okay. I'm getting just your best recollection is all I'm asking for. And then, are there any other photographs?
If I can help out a little bit. When he sent these photographs, he sent it with dates on when it arrived and departed. The silver truck arrived 7/2/2020, departed 7/5/2020. The black truck arrived 6/28 and departed 7/1. So this was one of those where the black truck left and the silver truck came the next day.
Okay.
Then this next photo is the one that he sent me. This black truck, it came 7/5 and departed 7/8.
Wait, I'm not sure we're on the right photograph there. Which
the silver one? It's hard because my notes are on different.
Okay, pages. So I have the black pickup truck. The tenants there stayed 6/28 to 7/1, and then the silver pickup truck tenants came the very next day 7/2/2020, departed on 7/5.
Correct.
Okay. And then I think you had a slide of a different motor vehicle.
This
like
black
SUV.
one. This black
Oh,
one
there it
here.
is, the SUV, and I can't tell what state that is from. We'll call it a black SUV.
Sometimes if they're rental cars, they will all have Florida cameras.
Okay.
I found that out.
Do you have the dates when the black SUV?
The black one was 7/5 to 7/8.
Okay.
Then this next one that I'm getting ready to show you is 7/9 to 7/16.
And call that a silver hatchback.
It's a Ford Edge.
Okay. Seven nine to, what are the dates again? I'm sorry.
7/9 to 7/16.
7/16. Okay.
This next photo is going to be 7/17 to 7/21. It's like a gray Ford Expedition. And with those dates, you can clearly show the back to back to back to back.
Right. Any other photographs you want
Yes,
to share?
sir. Then he has another group here. This is 8/2 to 8/9.
2 to 8/9. So this is a Lexus
Gray Lexus hatchback.
NX 300.
And following that one is 8/10 to 8/13.
Just this white Versa.
Sir.
Okay.
Then we have another one. It's 818 to 821.
What kind of car is that?
Looks like a Dodge.
Or a black Dodge hatchback?
Yes, sir. Then we have another one here. That's 826 to 827.
Would you describe that?
I think that's a black Ford Edge, and then it looks like a silver Toyota Tacoma.
Right.
And the final one is 829 to 91.
It's a Subaru Crosstrek. White.
These are just the photos that we are presenting that cover the August, September timeframe that we
Right.
want to find them in violation. But I have hundreds of photos over the 2-year period, and I did not want to sit here and present all
Okay.
those photos to you. But like I said, we just want to find them in violation, August and September. That's all we're doing.
All right. Anything beyond September 1st?
I haven't documented it.
Okay.
They have been coming in, yes, but I guess it's not presented.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a testimony of additional violations in September. Anything else?
I just also want to note that the Airbnb, it has been corrected. They're not putting themselves out for less than 7 days anymore. So that as of right now, they are in compliance.
And I did go on the Airbnb, and it has been corrected. It's no longer listed as a 3-day.
Okay.
That, I did that 3 or 4 days.
Okay. Very good. Is there anyone else here to testify on this matter? And then as far as a recommendation to me, you want me to find a violation and what else?
We just want to find them in violation of section 110-487, section 110-486.
And then if these violations continue, what kind of fine would the city recommend?
That would be open for discussion at that time. It really depends on how blatant it is or anything like that. Right now, if there's another violation, if you're a repeat offender, we bring them back before you, and we would have a whole different staff recommendation at that time.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I have one more question for the city. What is the zoning district this is in?
It's R2.
Thank you. All right, I think I'm prepared to issue findings of fact, conclusions of law, and an order here based on the evidence and the testimony that was presented to me this evening. I find that the respondents, Mr. Gans, Alexander Gans, and Jordan Carberry, are the owners of the subject property, which is located at 348 Chandler Street, Cape Canaveral 32920. The dwelling is in the R2 zoning district. That there have been numerous inspections of the property as well as photographic evidence from Mr. FICA of violations in, looks like beginning all the way from July and August into the beginning of September 2020. The response did not appear here this evening. They were, however, served with a notice of violation on August 24th, 2020, via certified mail. Property was posted on September 9, 2020. The notice of hearing for this evening was served via certified mail on September 28, 2020, and it was posted on October 15, 2020. I find that the notices complied with Section 2-253 of the City Code and the Florida statutes, that is 162.06 and 162.12. Find that the subject property is in violation of Section 110.486 of the City Code pertaining to vacation rentals, which states that nothing contained in the City Code shall be construed as prohibiting the use of any dwelling unit as a vacation rental, as defined by Florida Statutes Chapter 509. Vacation rentals shall comply with the minimum 7-day rental restriction pursuant to Section 110-487 of the City Code and shall be governed by Florida Statutes Chapter 509 of the Florida Building Code and Florida Fire Prevention Code. Find that the subject property is in violation of Section 110-487 of the City Code, which deals with rental restrictions on dwelling units, which states it shall be unlawful for any person to rent a dwelling for less than 7 consecutive days in any zoning district, excluding hotels and motels under Section 110-332.4, vacation rentals in the C1 zoning district, and a vacation resort campus under Section 110-490. The zoning district in which this dwelling is in is not one of the zoning districts that is excluded. I also find that the city enacted its vacation rental ordinance prior to 2007. It is grandfathered. The city provided the respondents with a reasonable time from the date of the first notice of violation on 8/24/2020. I'm going to order the respondents to cease any and all violations of Section 110-486 and 110-487, that no vacation rentals shall be given to renters for less than the minimum 7 days. If any renter stays for less than 7 days, an additional renter cannot move into the property for a total of 7 days from the time that the first renter entered the property. The respondents shall not advertise the subject property as being available for less than 7 days. Or, again, any bookings for less than 7 days would restrict the ability to have any subsequent bookings within the original 7-day period. The respondents are ordered to provide notice to the Code Compliance Division of the Community Development Department that they are complying with these ordinances. If the respondents continue to violate the ordinance, the code enforcement officer shall schedule a compliance hearing before me. The respondent shall receive due notice in accordance with law and an opportunity to appear and present testimony and evidence as to whether these violations are continuing on the subject property. Upon a finding by me that the subject property remains in violation, a fine will be entered in an amount of up to $250 per day that the subject property is violating the city code. Any fines that I may impose for noncompliance may become a lien in favor of the city on the subject property and upon any other real or personal property of the respondents pursuant to Section 2-252E of the city code. And a written order will be provided tomorrow, will be my goal. Is there any other business this evening? Seeing none, then we will adjourn the meeting.